Okay, two Christmas stories, briefly, from a professional Santa Claus. About 40 years ago, give or take, I worked at Famous and Sears as a professional Santa Claus. I was out of school trying to get the money to get back in school without borrowing money to pay tuition. And I got a call from a woman who asked me to come visit her 3 children for Christmas over near Arsenal near Tower Grove. And I wasn't sure the store would let me take the costume out of the store because I was only 21. And I'd only been there a week and a half. And they said, yeah, you can borrow it. That's back when the stores were closed on Sunday. So I called her and said I would do it. And she asked how much I would charge her. And I told her I had no idea how much to charge her. I made about $5 an hour, which wasn't bad then. And she said, well, the guy down at Sticks Bar in Fuller, which won't be much to many people in St. Louis, wants $50 a visit. And I thought, God, that's more than I'm making a day. And I said, why don't you just make me some homemade chocolate chip cookies? I'm just a college kid. That would be good enough for me. So she said she would. I arranged to meet her at a certain time, a certain place on Sunday evening over near Tower Grove, near her house. And we met in the back by her garage where I could change reasonably quickly and comfortably. And I asked the kids' names and ages for anybody that wants to do this, which we need to know. You need to know their names and ages. And then she told me something she had not told me on the phone. That the reason I was doing this is because her daughter and son-in-law had been killed in a car crash, and these children were by themselves for the first time in their lives, of course, and she wanted me to help them get over the doldrums of the holidays without their parents. So that's a daunting thing to be asked to do, so I told her I'd try, but I wasn't sure how successful I'd be. Went around the front door and knocked on the door a little bit later as arranged, and the 2 little boys, who were maybe 4 or 5, answered the door, and they were properly impressed and in awe. And we sat in a rocker and we talked, and I gave them their presents that the grandmother had given me in my bag from when I was in the garage. Little 10-year-old girl in the corner, maybe 11, watched me all the time. I knew she didn't buy this, and it was okay. And after about 5 or 6 minutes, I got ready to leave, and I told the boys goodbye and shook their hands and shook Grandma's hand, and she gave me cookies. I put it in my bag. And I asked her if she wanted to shake Santa's hand, and she said, she shook her head. She didn't say a word, shook her head no. And then I went to the door, and as I stopped at the door handle, I turned around and said, I hope you have as good a Christmas as you can have. And she walked quickly across the room, which is why I love doing this, and reached up, and I leaned down, and she put her face next to mine, and she said in my ear, I know you're not real, but thank you for what you're trying to do for my family. And I thought this little girl just jumped from about being 11 to about 35 years old. She was the mother. It was like her family. That was a great experience. There's about 40 of these. I'm going to give you 2. Amanda said 2, and I'm going to do the funny one. There's funny ones, but this is a short, funny one. I went by to see a little girl, courtesy of my sister, who was not able to make her kindergarten Christmas party because she had the sniffles. I don't remember her name, but she was maybe 5. And her mother and father told her to answer the door. They knew I was coming. She didn't know. So I knock on the door, which is a standard little suburban track house, a little porch with a cover on it, roof, and 1 step up to the house. And I knock on the door, and this little bitty girl, about 5 years old maybe, opens the door, looks up and says, Santa Claus. And one of the things you do as Santa Claus, you never move forward unless they want you to, and you get down to their level. So she just sat down in the entryway. The door's wide open. It's got to be 20 degrees outside. So I knelt down on the porch a step below her, and we talked for several minutes. I gave her the ball that her mother had given my sister to give me to give her. And we sort of rolled it back and forth while I asked her the standard questions. Has she been a good girl? Does she mind her mom and dad? Does she get along with her big brother? Can you name my reindeer? All that kind of stuff. And after about 5 or 6 minutes, the house was getting cold, and I didn't want to bore her. So I said I had to leave because I had other children to see. And asked her to shake my hand. She said sure, and she stood up, and I stood up to shake her hand. And then I let the ball drop in front of her. I thought she'd catch it, but she was distracted by something for just a second. And the ball kind of went behind her. And I saw this happen. What happened next I didn't know about for almost a day. As she turned around to get the ball, I stepped off the porch, went around the shrubbery, and went back to my sister's house to change. When she turned around, she had not actually seen me leave. It was as if I had vanished. And she looked at her mom and dad, open-mouthed, and then she stepped onto the porch. Then she walked out into the front yard, looked up at the starlit sky, and said, he just flowed away.